Classic Hollywood, an era of glitz, glamour, and secrets tightly sealed.
Secrets.
You see, beneath the sparkling surface of the silver screen, a hidden world thrived. Relationships, passionate and profound, but forced into the shadows. Why? Because revealing them would mean scandal, ruined careers, and societal rejection. The stakes were high and the masks were many. But who were these stars that dared to love outside the boundaries, and how did they manage to keep their relationships concealed in a world where secrets were currency? Get ready, because we're about to peel back the curtain on the 10 best-kept same-sex relationships in classic Hollywood. This is a story of love, courage, and a time when being true to oneself came with a price. Katharine Hepburn and Barbara. Katharine's life held secrets that few dared to whisper about. Behind the scenes, she navigated a delicate dance, trying to keep her homosexual relationships concealed from the prying eyes of the public. Enter Scotty Bowers, a socialite and matchmaker for the stars. In his tell-all book, Full Service, he revealed how Hepburn had approached him with a unique request. She sought his expertise in finding a young, dark-haired girl who was not overly made up. Scotty, intrigued by the enigmatic actress, was more than willing to oblige. Thus began a clandestine connection that spanned half a century. Bowers and Hepburn forged a close friendship that blossomed in the shadows. Bowers reminisced, "In the course of time, I would fix her up with over 150 different women. Most of them she would only see once or twice and then tire of them." But amongst these fleeting encounters, there was one exception. A 17-year-old girl named Barbara. Barbara was different. She captivated Hepburn's heart like no other. The two embarked on a journey of love and intimacy that would span nearly 5 decades. To celebrate their connection, Hepburn bestowed upon Barbara a brand new two-toned Ford Fairlane, a symbol of their bond. Their love remained hidden from the world, tucked away in the folds of secrecy that cloaked Hepburn's personal life. As the years passed, both women faced the challenges that came with living a love that society deemed unacceptable. Barbara married 3 times during those decades, concealing the truth of her enduring connection with the legendary actress. Hepburn, too, was skilled at guarding her private life fiercely, determined to protect her career and image from scandal. But love stories like these are never without twists and turns. 3 months before Hepburn's passing in June 2003, Barbara received a letter from Hepburn's attorneys. Alongside the letter was a check for $100,000, a poignant gesture from the woman who had shared her life with her in the shadows. It was a testament to the depth of their love and the lengths Hepburn went to support her partner even after her passing. Greta Garbo and Mercedes Acosta. The enchanting romance of Greta Garbo and Mercedes Acosta was a very intriguing one. Now, these two were no ordinary ladies. Greta Garbo was the captivating Swedish actress with a dash of mystery, and Mercedes Acosta, a talented writer and poet. Both were destined to find each other in the whirlwind of Hollywood's secrets. It all began in the 1930s when fate played matchmaker and introduced them through some well-connected buddies. The sparks that flew when these two incredible women first met was so palpable, it seemed like a match made by fate. It was like fireworks on the 4th of July when they first set their eyes on each other, and there was definitely undeniable chemistry and instant attraction. They were just drawn to each other like magnets. But wait. Hollywood back then wasn't exactly a rainbow-filled paradise, you know? Society had its unwritten rules, and loving someone of the same gender, well, that was definitely frowned upon. So, what did Greta and Mercedes do? They decided to keep their romance under wraps, a little secret that only a select few lucky folks knew about. Amidst all the moving parts in Hollywood, these two lovebirds found solace in each other's arms, sharing dreams, fears, and all those poetic pursuits. Their love was like a hidden gem, shining brilliantly in the shadows, away from the ever-watchful eyes of the public. Now, let's talk about Mercedes. She was a woman who embraced her true self and poured her heart out into beautiful poems and love letters for her darling Greta. The love letters would reportedly make Greta swoon when she read them in secret. But the flip side to their love story was the fact that Greta's fame and the fear of society's judgment started taking a toll on their relationship. It was like a roller coaster of emotions, including love and passion. They couldn't meet in public, and even when they were in private, they had to watch their backs for any spies from media outlets. One small leak of their romance to the public and their careers were over. They brazened through hell and back just to be with each other. Now, we may not know all the juicy details about their love story, but the historical records and those personal accounts sure leave us with a glimpse of their admiration for one another. And even though their romance eventually simmered down, the fire of their bond left an everlasting mark on their lives. Janet Gaynor, Margaret Lindsay, and Mary Martin. Janet Gaynor, the trailblazer of Hollywood. She made history as the very first person to win the Academy Award for Best Actress and left an indelible mark on the silver screen. However, in 1928, the stars aligned for this extraordinary talent, and she scooped up that coveted Oscar for not just one, but 3 remarkable performances for Seventh Heaven, Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans, and Street Angel. She absolutely dazzled audiences with her versatility and sheer brilliance. No one had ever achieved such an extraordinary feat, and she proved that she was a force to be reckoned with in Tinseltown. Now, when it came to love, Janet Gaynor's heart seemed to have a knack for unique connections. She tied the knot, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And here's the twist. All her husbands were reportedly gay. But love knows no boundaries, right? It's all about embracing the journey and finding happiness in our own way. But there's more to the story. Janet wasn't afraid to embrace her own truth, and she was romantically linked to not just one, but 2 lovely actresses, Margaret Lindsay and Mary Martin. Love knows no gender, and Janet seemed to understand that so well. She was a trailblazer, not just on the screen, but also in her personal life, breaking barriers and defying societal expectations. Reporter Ben Maddox, himself gay, couldn't help but admire Janet's genuine nature. She never felt the need to pretend or play the Hollywood game. That's right. She stayed true to herself, and that natural authenticity annoyed those who envied her for effortlessly shining bright without compromising her ideals. Marlene Dietrich and Mercedes de Acosta. Dietrich was the mesmerizing actress known for her unforgettable performances in The Blue Angel, Shanghai Express, and Desire. This Hollywood icon had a flair that captivated hearts worldwide, and there was so much more to her story than meets the eye. You see, Marlene's journey to Hollywood was influenced by her upbringing in post-war Berlin, where the LGBT culture thrived. This vibrant atmosphere shaped her perspective on sexuality, and when she came to the US, she carried with her a more open viewpoint. She wasn't afraid to embrace her truth, and her unique approach to love and relationships set her apart from the Hollywood norms. This was perhaps Marlene's most notable trait. She was bold, she was courageous, and not at all afraid to express herself, her views, opinions, and even sexuality. She was unlike a lot of other actresses in her time who would much rather hide their sexuality. Marlene was much more open and dramatic about it. Now, here's a fascinating fact about Marlene's premiere of Der Blaue Engel in Germany. This shows just how bold she was about her sexuality. She walked onto that stage with a bunch of violets pinned to the crotch of her gown. Those violets had a symbolic meaning. They represented lesbianism, a secret message understood by her friends back in Berlin. It was her way of expressing her true self and letting her inner circle know that she embraced her identity with pride. But the romantic intrigue doesn't stop there. While she was married to Rudolf Sieber, Marlene formed passionate partnerships with women, including the talented Mercedes de Acosta. Yes, the same Mercedes de Acosta who had a fling with none other than the enigmatic Greta Garbo. She was so in love with Mercedes, but yet, the relationship wasn't widespread and well-known. While she was not one to hide, she couldn't deny the fact that the secrecy of their relationship added to its appeal and allure, and she loved it. All through her career, a lot of media outlets conducted interviews to try and satisfy their suspicion on her sexuality, and she would never hide it. She wasn't one to conform to society's expectations. When asked about her approach to relationships, she simply shrugged and said, "I haven't a strong sense of possession toward a man." She knew her own mind and didn't fit into traditional notions of femininity. Marlene's reactions were uniquely her own, and that authenticity made her all the more captivating. Marie Dressler and Claire Dubray. Dressler, the heavyset mother figure of the silver screen. You might recognize her as the Academy Award winner for her fantastic role in Min and Bill Talk About a True Star. But here's the twist that'll leave you in awe. Her real-life partner was none other than her trusted secretary, Claire Dubray. Now, after Claire's passing at the incredible age of 100 in 1993, she left behind a tell-all memoir that spilled the beans on her relationship with Dressler. No holding back. She didn't dive into the nitty-gritty details of their intimate moments, but she sure didn't shy away from sharing the sweet moments they shared. Think cozy hotel rooms and those peaceful domestic evenings. The romance was simply amazing. But wait, there's more. When Dressler was young and full of that New York spirit, she mingled with some notable names in the lesbian subculture, like Elizabeth Marbury, Elsie de Wolfe, and Anne Morgan. Quite the circle, but as fate would have it, when Dressler passed away in 1934, it was Dubray who took her place in the front pew, honoring their love till the very end. Anthony Perkins and Tab Hunter. Perkins and Hunter were quite a fascinating couple, but Perkins was no ordinary man in terms of what he wanted in a romantic relationship. Beyond him being secretly gay, he was also interested in fascinating things and people. He got bored easily, and his interest was hard to keep, so he would always seek the element of surprise, asking the man who fixes him up with younger men, Scott Bowers, what surprise he had in store for him. Anthony would say things like, "Who've you got who's different, Scott?" Or, "Who do you have for me for tomorrow night that will surprise me? Anything really new?" This was until Scott Bowers finally found Tab Hunter and introduced him to Anthony. It was an attraction at first sight, but Perkins was married with 3 children. Could he start a secret relationship with another man? Now, here's the juicy part. Perkins and Hunter were indeed involved in a clandestine relationship, which was known to a select few in the industry. Don Bachardy, an artist, revealed that they had been together for quite a while, and it wasn't just mere speculation, but they were very cautious about keeping their love affair under wraps. At gatherings and parties, they were careful not to be seen together openly, except for occasions like a party hosted by acting teacher Elaine Aiken. In places like the Vista Theater, situated near the predominantly gay neighborhood of Silver Lake, they would go on movie dates but buy tickets separately and sit apart. It allowed them to enjoy each other's company without drawing unwanted attention. Interestingly, Tab Hunter was more publicly known for his homosexuality during that time, whereas Anthony Perkins kept his private life well hidden. Crew members on film sets, like camera operator Leonard Smith, noticed their bond, but some of them were insensitive and cruel in their remarks. This hurt Perkins deeply, and he would retreat to his dressing room to avoid further confrontation. Clearly, he wasn't comfortable with others making jokes about his personal life. Noel Coward, Graham Payne, and Bowers. The British sensation known for his quick wit and flamboyant charm. He was more than just a playwright, he was a composer, actor, and singer, a true Renaissance man of the arts. But when it came to love, Coward had a heart that couldn't resist a bit of romance, and he had quite the list of lovers. From the dashing Prince George, the Duke of Kent, to fellow actors Alan Webb and Lewis Hayward. And, let's not forget the playwright Keith Winter, Coward knew how to charm them all. But guess what? His most enduring relationship was with none other than the talented South African actor Graham Payne. They were like a match made in showbiz heaven, standing the test of time with their love. But again, when it came to romance, Coward had his own unique style. He was all about getting passionate, but not too deeply. Scotty Bowers, the man who spilled the beans in his book, full service, dishes on the steamy details. According to his account of their relationship, there were lots of touching, caressing, and kneading. It was a passionate union like no other. Oh, but it doesn't stop there. Coward was so smitten with Bowers that he even got him a first-class return steamer ticket to visit his Caribbean abode. He wanted them to have crazy adventures together. But sadly, Bowers didn't want to go that deeply into their relationship. Bowers was a free spirit who was initially a fixer and facilitated most of the connections between Hollywood's forbidden relationships. While he liked to have a taste himself, Bowers was not one to commit to any one entanglement. And so poor Coward's heart was broken when Bowers decided to decline the invitation. But Coward didn't give up. Again, he proposed yet another romantic getaway to Tahiti, the allure of paradise. But alas, Bowers had to pass on that adventure too. Spencer Tracy and Scotty Bowers. Spencer was nominated for 9 Academy Awards and won 2 for Captains Courageous and Boys Town. He made 9 movies with Katharine Hepburn, and studios concocted a phony romance between the actors that was so well managed, the public accepted it without question. Tracy and Hepburn were always given trailers, dressing rooms, and hotel suites next to each other to keep the myth alive. In Full Service, Scotty Bowers recalls how Tracy called him to come to look at his hot water cylinder in his house. As Bowers fixed the hot water heater, Tracy drank an entire bottle of scotch. Bowers offered to cook for him, and Tracy opened another bottle of scotch. Then, Tracy came on to Bowers. Bowers writes, "He began to undress and begged me not to leave him. I did not have the heart to say no." Bowers got undressed and climbed into bed with Tracy, who was so drunk and difficult to understand. A few hours later, Bowers woke up to the sound of Tracy stumbling around the bedroom trying to find the bathroom door to pee. Scotty Bowers said, "He fumbled for the light switch but couldn't find it, so he just let loose. One moment he was urinating up against the drapes, the next into an open closet, then all over the carpet. Finally, he fell back into bed and immediately lapsed into a deep sleep, snoring like an express train." Scotty continued to have an affair with Tracy, which always included Tracy drinking himself into a stupor. Bowers said, "The great Spencer Tracy was another bisexual man, a fact totally concealed by the studio publicity department. That is, if they ever knew about it at all." Cary Grant and Randolph Scott. Grant, the epitome of charm and talent in the golden age of Hollywood. This English actor had quite the career, leaving his mark on the silver screen with his outstanding performances. He was indeed a brilliant and talented man, with 2 Academy Award nominations for his acting in Penny Serenade and None But the Lonely Heart. No doubt, a true Hollywood legend. But wait, the story doesn't end there. Let's shift our focus to another fabulous actor of the era, Randolph Scott. He was the epitome of a Western hero, dazzling audiences with his charisma and talent, and together these two created a dynamic duo of their time. Now, here's the fascinating twist. Cary Grant was married to Barbara Hutton, but he had a rather unique living arrangement with none other than Randolph Scott. They were more than just friends and had something deep and profound that bloomed between them. The living arrangement was perfect for them, and whether Cary's wife knew about her husband's affair or not, we may not know for sure, but in the end, this shows how strong the bond between the two men was. Now, before you let your imagination run wild, let's set the record straight. They were indeed quite the wild bunch, but not in the way you might think. Most Hollywood secret couples were never truly in love. It was usually just lust and physical attraction, but Cary and Randolph had something more than physical. Bowers recalls the intriguing adventures they had together, and it wasn't all about the expected Hollywood shenanigans. They were all about cozy cuddle sessions and heart-to-heart talks. Cary and Randolph weren't afraid to show their tender sides and show each other just how much love they felt, or one another. And believe it or not, their relationship lasted for years. They were more than just fleeting flames. They stood the test of time. And where did they end up? Well, in not just one, but 2 homes. One nestled behind the famous Chateau Marmont Hotel in Hollywood, and the other, a dreamy beach house in sunny Malibu. William Haynes and Jimmy Shields. One man once stood tall as the #1 box office silent film star in the country for a year, and in the top 10 for 5 more. That man was none other than the charismatic William Haynes, famous for his roles in The Midnight Express and Brown of Harvard. But here's the twist. Despite his soaring success, he decided to bid farewell to acting in his 30s. All because of a little problem, MGM Studios didn't approve of his sexuality. Rumor has it that one fateful day, William Haynes stormed out of MGM mogul Louis B. Mayer's office in a fit of rage and disgust. What caused this dramatic exit? Well, Mayer insisted that Haynes give up his loving relationship with his partner, Jimmy Shields. Now, Haynes wasn't having any of that. He reportedly said, "My happiness with Jimmy is more important than my career in your lousy motion picture." That's how strong his love for Jimmy was, but how did it all start? It was way back in 1926 when Haynes laid first eyes on Jimmy. Legend has it that Haynes spotted him on the street and couldn't resist that spark. So, what did he do? Well, being the generous guy he was, Haynes got Jimmy a job at MGM as an extra and stand-in. He was so intrigued and infatuated, he didn't want Jimmy out of his sight. He wanted to be seeing him every day and have him close by at all times. But if we are being honest, being a movie star's partner can be quite the experience. While Jimmy took his role as William Haynes' steady boyfriend seriously, it was maybe a bit too seriously for Haynes' taste. Little by little, Haynes began to get tired of the relationship, but all the while, it was kept from the general public. One of the best-kept secret gay relationships in Hollywood history. But hey, despite their ups and downs, Haynes and Shields were making history with their relationship. They were Hollywood's first openly gay couple, even if others were doubting if they were truly a couple or it was a media stunt. Their love was one of the strongest and most passionate they had felt in a long time. Speaking of captivating, Hollywood is no doubt full of mysteries that are so often hidden from the cameras. Some of these mysteries are more than just the relationships of these actors, but they have to do with their lives and well-beings. No one knows what they go through in their lives until they draw their final breath. Watch this video to understand some of these celebrity mysteries that fooled even their fans.